Visalaw is the first immigration intelligence platform built by immigration lawyers for immigration lawyers. We built it to support every area of an immigration law firm's work, not just research, not just drafting, but the full practice of immigration law, restoring attorneys' time for client advocacy. It starts with data. Visalaw AI is built on the largest and most robust immigration law dataset available, curated by immigration attorneys and continuously updated. Every feature, workflow, and AI capability is grounded in authoritative immigration law. The platform is built with enterprise-grade security, and customer data is never retained or used to train AI models. Our improved case law tools deliver faster, deeper legal analysis with clear authority, stronger context, and reliable citations you can trust. Our new research agent goes further. It identifies your practice area, checks live government sources for policy changes through GovSync, searches the full catalog of US case law, statutes, and regulations when needed, and verifies every citation before results reach you. Visalaw AI. This is immigration intelligence you can trust.
Hello and welcome in, Josh. How you doing today?
Good. How about yourself, Ian?
I'm doing well. We're popping up a little preview here of what we're going to get into today. And yeah, thank you everybody who's joining today. I appreciate everybody who's taking the time to learn a little bit more about drafting in Visalaw AI and how we can do. In this case today, we're going to be going over E-1 treaty trader casework. And so I'm excited to go over that and discuss that with you, Josh, about how we can plug in our materials and then output that with Visalaw AI, which, as you saw in the video, is what we describe as an immigration intelligence platform. It's really what we believe is the first of its kind sort of technology, and allows you to leverage the power of AI with our exclusive immigration data set, which helps you work faster, in this case draft faster, move from a blank page to a first draft, and work collaboratively within your team to get this work done. So
Absolutely.
Josh, I'm really excited today. Obviously you speak with a lot of attorneys every single day about this work, and you know just how valuable it is.
No, absolutely. And especially, always listening to what the attorneys have and what is that's being asked for as well. And the E1s are one of the newest additions we have here for the Visalaw drafting side of things as well, which is fantastic. Again, we're always adding new stuff in here. So it's always great to be able to hear and get feedback from other attorneys saying, hey, this is what we need right now. This is what we're looking for, and doing what we can to adapt and make sure that we're meeting our customers where they're at and creating kind of some fantastic use cases for them. So, love that.
Absolutely. And so as we go through today, you may have questions. You may want to ask something about what you're seeing, or just ask generally about the product. Maybe you are a current customer as well, and you want to learn a little bit more about tips and tricks that can help make things go smoother. There's a couple things here. If you are new to Visalaw AI, the best next step you can take after today is to go ahead and meet with Josh, meet with Tyler, meet with one of our members of our sales team. So I'm going to throw up here a QR code. If you want to book a demo, this is the best way to take sort of that next step and learn a little bit more about how Visalaw can be used one-on-one in your work environment, whatever that may be, whether you're a solo attorney, whether you're practicing with a large team, or you're somewhere in the middle there. In addition to that, feel free to use the comment section, as I mentioned, if you want to send a question or feedback. I'm going to say hello in there so you know where you need to look. And as we get started today, I will also note we did send out the wrong link initially in our first promotion here. And so there may be a few people who are looking to go to see the drafting today, and they'll be a little bit surprised on Thursday. We did send out a corrected link, and everybody who registered will get the copy of today's recording sent to their inbox. So you can always look if you need to step out today, or for any reason, or you show up late, you will get the recording sent to your inbox. And if not, you can always reach out to me, and I'm happy to make that get that all set up for you. So as we go through today's demo, Josh, we'll go ahead and get it started, but we're going to be looking through the fictional training case involving Daniel Laurent Moreau. of
That is of French origins. That is, yeah, that's
yes.
what we're doing. That's what we're
Absolutely, a
doing
French
today.
company. Yeah, this is a French company providing digital marketing, consulting, subscription-based training content, and downloadable strategy guides to U.S. and European consumer brands. So it qualifies in this. Well, we'll take a look, and at this point, we've already qualified this person. On Thursday, we will actually take a look and see and do sort of that workflow items where we might qualify this person on the front end and do all of those fun things. So if you're interested
Absolutely.
in that, we're happy to send you a link to Thursday's webinar as well. But show us what we're looking at here, Josh.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, went really quick there, but we went from our main screen again, going into the chat, going directly into the drafting side of things here. As we start with any drafts, we want to go and we start a new one as well. We can give our project a nice little name here. Obviously, in this case, we're going to be doing our E1s. We're doing it for June, so plug the date in there. Obviously, if we have client names or any details, we can do that as well. Our process, we're going to be doing this E1 treaty trader again, or the form. I do appreciate that we now have the forms included, which is connected to as well, which is fantastic. We're also able to go, if we have other members who are currently using the Visalaw platform, we can actually share this with other members that are in our organization. This allows multiple people who might be working on the same project or same draft to upload documents and materials as well within here in order to kind of be a more collaborative effort as we're working through this together. With that said, as with anything here, we'll begin by actually uploading all of our documentation. If we had documents that were already pre-created or ones we've uploaded to a project, we can select them manually. I do want to point out some of our integrations as well. Um, we do work with Clio, DocketWise, Google Drive, Dropbox, OneDrive, and of course e-immigration as well, as we're native on their platform. Just some ways instead of having to go and manually upload all these documents, you'd be able to go in and just connect those a little bit easier for us here. With that said, let me go ahead and grab we're going to grab our E1 documentation. And so with this, we are just going to have some different fact patterns, just kind of on the testing side of things so you guys know. We do run multiple examples, multiple tests here, especially as we're going through before we actually launch any of these drafts out to the public. We want to make sure that, regardless of what type of case we're dealing with here or the details or the specifications of it, that all of the, we have a couple of different ways we can test these out in order to make sure that they're giving quality outputs before you guys even see them. So another thing that we do is just, we want to make sure that you're getting good quality and what you can do within the product. What we're waiting for right now is the AI is actually going through, it's reading through all of our documentation here. It then goes through and encrypts all the documentation for us as well. As mentioned briefly at the beginning during the video, Visalaw AI does not train on or maintain any user data. So again, security is one of our utmost and important values here. So making sure everything that is uploaded is kept safe, confidential, and secure is absolutely vital.
It's paramount, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, Josh, because there is always, we do like to plug in this sort of section here, just some information. If you are using, AI, and as an attorney, if you've got paralegals and you are wondering whether they're using AI, let me go ahead and tell you they probably are. And the reason that this is really crucial for you to sort of set up a plan, and, understand maybe in your letters of engagement with your clients as well, because clients could also be using AI, putting sensitive information about their case into AI. Frontline, ChatGPT, Claude, all of those items. What you may want to start thinking about is how your data is protected, or how your client's data is protected, and understanding the difference between enterprise accounts, where you have a data security contract, you have a data protection contract in place, which is something that we do with every customer. It's not something that you get with just a free model or even a $20 paid version of ChatGPT or Claude. So definitely something to keep in mind as you use these AI softwares. ChatGPT, the free version, is great for making your workout regimen. It's not so great for uploading your client information. So just something to keep in mind here, and sort of one of the reasons that Visalaw has been built specifically for immigration practice.
No, absolutely. And appreciate you highlighting those points as well, Ian. Fantastic points. Cool. As we've gone ahead here, all of our documents have now been uploaded into the system. What we're going to be seeing here is we're actually going to get a list of all the materials that have been provided to us here. Some really cool things with this. Again, if we wanted to go in, a lot of these have these little underscores and stuff as well. If we wanted to change, maybe we wanted this to read a little bit better, we actually can use the AI to rename some of the documents in here. I'm just going to do it for the first one to show an example. But being that the AI actually read all these materials, as you can see, we now have basically the exact same thing, but with those additional underscores removed, making it a little bit cleaner to look at as well. Some other things we can do within this is we're able to organize our documentation using AI. We can also create our own groups. We also decide if we want to include these in any of these materials in our exhibit list. So let's say there's materials we want to include. We want the system to use them when it's actually drafting the documentation. However, we don't necessarily need it cited within the exhibit list at the end. We can decide if we want to turn those exhibits on or off as well. Within here, again, I always just like using the organize using AI tool. I think this is a very helpful feature to actually get all of your documents kind of in the categories that they need to be for you without you having to do anything. So even a time saver there. And again, this will be reflected in our finalized exhibit list at the end of the documentation. It'll be portrayed the exact same way that it is here in terms of the order and the structure, as well as the titles and things as well. So love that. With that said, we'll move on to the next section here. Next section here is when we're actually going to decide what it is that we want the AI to be drafting for us. By default, obviously, most people would want every section, but if there's ever a section you don't want to include, or things that, or maybe you just want to write one section of it, you can select just that one, remove the others. But for our case today, we do want to do the entire letter here as well. With this, we do have our client's details. Again, Mr. Moreau, who again is of French origin. We have a nice little detail here as well, giving us some insight. All of this pulled from the documentations that have been provided here. I actually have these on my end, so I know that they are the owner principal. Again, the organization, incorporation in France. Again, what the business describes, what goods are offered. All of these are actually in here as well. With this information, we then be able to pull in additional materials if need be. Again, if we need to describe the history, we can do this as well. Some of these have already been included here for us. So if we wanted to do things like describing a history of the consulting agency, we can talk a little bit about the ownership structure as well. Again, all of this information we've pulled in from various sources. This is the part where being the attorney kind of comes in a little bit, where we still have to know the details of our case within here in terms of the information that we're providing. However, again, these can be a little bit more plug and play if we know what it is that our client is working with.
And as you fill these in, Josh, this is also a point where I would highlight, since we're sort of doing this in backwards order, where we're doing the drafting first, and then on Thursday we're talking about sort of the workflow items.
Right.
You'll see on Thursday if you come to that, which I'll go ahead and and put that link for that if you want to register for that and join, and you'll see how you can actually on the front end, as you sort of work through this information, you actually build a project, and within that project you can ask questions basically against the documents that you've provided, the same ones that we're using in this drafting scenario, and you would get all this information built. You could do a fast case analysis. There's a number of other things that we could do as well. You could do an intake gap review, of course, treaty, country, and nationality review. So all of these things, trade activity review, if you wanted to look through all of those documents, that you would probably get a lot of the things there. You could also ask for some of the items that you're seeing in this fill-in area as well. So you would probably already have a lot of this information offhand.
Absolutely. And again, some of these are optional too in terms of the ones that are being signed and filled in here. But with this, we can also go through and fill these out as need be within the documentation. So do love that as well. With that said, we can go ahead if we want to put a signatory in here. For our case today, I don't think we need to put all that information for everything. We'll just kind of get the gist of the details in here just for demo purposes today. Again, if we want to do a more in-depth letter, we can do that at a later date. We can also make sure we send over a copy of a finalized one of these with all the details included if need be.
And this section as well, Josh, this is actually going to look a little bit different for the different kinds of cases that we're working. So obviously in this case with an E-1, there's a few more things that we have to fill in. But versus an H-1B or versus an EB-1, you're going to see actually a little bit of different items that you put in here. This is sort of the biggest difference in sort of the workflow that you would see case to case.
Exactly. And some of these cases too, all of the information can be auto-populated and put in here. Some of these we want to actually take again, we want to take that moment. We want to have the attorney looking over the documentations, making sure they're filling in some of those finer details and materials, making sure that they actually do have not only a clear understanding of what their client's case is, but also what is this document's going to say for them as well. With that said, once all the case details are put in, we can actually choose our document settings. This is going to be more so for the purposes of citations at the end of this. We can call them tabs, exhibits, we can name them something custom. We're also able to go in and decide if we want to include an index at the end of our documentation. We can rename it. If we want to annotate it, we can. We could also use a system template, a system default template, or we can create our own templates using an uploaded example. If we have one that we actually like of our own, we can talk a little bit about templates here while we wait for this draft to generate. And again, at this last stage, excuse me, this is normally when we are getting to that payment portion. Again, depending on what plan you have, you may or may not be seeing this screen. So fantastic. While we wait for that to draft, we can talk a little bit about the template side of things within the product as well. Templates are pretty straightforward in terms of their use cases. Within here, what we can do is if we have a template, we have a way we like doing this. We can say, hey, here's an E1 example. One is we can just upload an existing document. So if we have a finished E1 that we really like the structure, we can have the AI actually do all of the work for us. It'll do that structure, it'll pull out that information. It'll also use the language and the syntax of the previously uploaded document in order to give us a more a E1 that sounds a little bit more like the ways that you currently do them. When it comes to structure, though, we can also create a template manually. And this is where it more so comes down to maybe there's sections within your E1 that you don't want, or maybe there's maybe there's not areas that you use as frequently, or maybe you just like the structure of how you have your paragraphs formatted. This part of the templates actually allows you to kind of copy and paste from an existing letter. Again, this gives you a little bit more control over the documentation here within the platform, allowing you to have a template created from one of your existing examples. Once you've filled all this in, once it's done, we can go ahead and just click Save Template. And in that final step where it asks us, hey, do we want to use the system default or do we want to use our own? Once this is finished, we'll be able to go and we can actually select our own template and we can use that over and over again in the future. So a little bit, let's say a little bit involved on the front end, but once it's done for good and you're able to use that again repeatedly over and over again.
That's right, and that in doing that, the benefit there is that you will actually preserve things like your voice and the structure of your arguments and how you build those with those templates. So it's a really effective way to maintain sort of the identity that you have built in your past work, and in cases where you've seen success, this is a great way to sort of build out that process, and that really helps you scale long term.
Absolutely. And if you could use, your best version of every E1 you've written and have that be the default for you, I think that helps again with any case type you're running through here is putting that best foot forward. And if that changes and what it looks like, you're then able to create a new template and you can do it again. So we want to make sure you're presenting your best and being able to use whatever your secret sauce is that gets these cases taken care of. With that said, it looks like the E1 that we've done has actually already been completed. So we can go ahead and look in here together. Again, most documents within the drafting platform are fairly quick. On average, I would say they take between about, let's say 3 to 5 minutes, 5 to 10 if we're being a little bit more on the conservative side. Obviously, our longer documents, right, are maybe our EB1s and our Os that are, closer to 20 to 30 pages. Those ones might be closer to the 10-minute mark, but even with that, it's still going to be a lot faster than if we were doing it all by hand. With that said, this has now drafted us our E1 example. As we can see here, this has given us about 8 pages of documentation here as well, including all of the materials that we including all the materials and information that we provided to the system earlier. Within the platform, we actually have a rich text editor. All that means is we can make edits directly, which, good part about this is we don't have to open this in another platform if we don't want to make any changes. It's kind of a one-stop shop. As we mentioned, we like to be your kind of all-in-one immigration information solution here. If you do want to make changes in another platform, no worries at all. You can also download it here. You can do this as Word, you can do it as PDF. Same thing too, if we wanted to send this out, maybe we have a paralegal working on the first draft, or we have another attorney who's working on the first draft, and we just want to be sent out for review. We can actually go in and send these out for review here. Within here, the attorneys or other members of our team, we could then select who it is we want to review this with. Again, I don't have anyone linked up right now, but if I did, I could say, hey, I want to share this with Ian. One last thing I'll show off before we look at that finalized packet is we're actually able to go through and one of the big things that we really like within the system is our AI redraft tool. The AI redraft tool allows you to highlight specific sections of the document. Again, instead of having to rewrite this by hand, you're then able to go in and have the AI and giving specific instructions can tell it, hey, I want to make this more clear, more concise, or I want to, I want this to sound more like an attorney, or I want this to be whatever instructions you want to give it. This gives you the opportunity to do that as well. In our case here, we just went with the clear and concise. It shortened that paragraph down for us. If we wanted to make some changes, we could do that as well. If we just wanted to copy it and paste within theirs, we could do that. Again, we can also edit within here if need be. So if we want to just kind of do it all in one spot, we can do that as well. I don't think I missed anything there. So with that said, let's actually go ahead and bundle this petition packet, and we'll actually see what the finalized version of this E-1 looks like. A couple of things we can do here. We can rename the document. We can also include group names for the bundle petition packet. We can also add page numbers if we wanted to. Again, we try and be as customizable as possible within the system here. So we don't want every draft, every attorney is not the same. Everyone has different preferences and different ways they like to create and draft their own letters. So being able to customize and have a tool that does that for you as well, or helps in that process, is definitely great with that. What we have here is going to be, again, that finalized letter. As you can see, we went from 8 pages to 90 pages, so pretty significant jump there. The main reason for that big jump, and again, I'll scroll through here as well, is at the end of this, we're actually going to get our exhibit packet, or our index of our exhibits. Again, this is going to be in that same order that we worked with as we created the documentation previously in the third step. At the end of this, we'll actually see what this looks like. So we can see here's our exhibit 1, here's exhibit 1A, and then of course the actual records and information that were used in the filings here. People often ask, what types of documents can I use when it comes to uploading within the system as well? And all the ones that we've done in here, these have kind of varied. Some are Word, some are PDF, some are I don't think we have Excel or CSVs, but within here, you can do a bunch of different document types, and you can upload all of these into the systems, even JPEGs, PDFs, zip files, any and everything is kind of what our goal is. And with that, you're able to just kind of drag and drop them in there. So with that said, took us about 5 minutes, and we have a nice E-1 letter with an exhibit packet created here for us.
Absolutely. I think that's incredibly important to highlight is, just how quickly we were able to throw this all together. We did have probably your biggest bottleneck is going to be having all of your documents together at one time. But when you do that, you do get this really great and complete first version that you can go through. You can make edits. This is where you would sort of jump from, this is what I like to call the slingshot phase, where you sort of slingshot yourself from a blank page to a first draft, or maybe even your paralegal has done this for you. I mean, that's just kind of remarkable. I don't know if anybody else could possibly, if you really got down to it, maybe you could pump out an 8-page letter in 15 or 20 minutes, but really the amount of effort that we put into this is kind of remarkable. And along those lines, I do want to offer the opportunity for people, if you want to get a copy of today's output and look it over a little bit, learn a little bit more about what our default template does here. Obviously, we don't have a custom template built into this. This is our default template. So this is sort of a good benchmark for you to look at and how we have built these. if you want a copy of today's output, or you have any questions from today that you didn't ask in the chat, which I feel free to still use that if you have questions, send me an email, ian@visalaw.ai. I'm happy to get you connected either with the right resources or just get you the copy from today's output, and let you take another look at that, take a deeper dive into it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that I think on my end, I think that that's everything we have in terms of the letter as well here. If there's any questions, obviously more than happy to answer those as well. But otherwise, I think that kind of gives us our finalized draft to look over here.
That's right. That's right. We've sort of reached the end here. And again, some of the things that we'll note is, you look at the rich text editor here on the screen. This is something that you should be fairly familiar with. If you've used, which you should be familiar with. We've all used Word, we've all used Google Docs,
We have.
and this is built to give you that option to do this in platform before you put everything together, when you send it a review, so that you can go ahead and get your first edits out of the way. And it's a great collaboration tool. I think we can really, we do have some great promotions going on if you want to bring on not just your, if you want to have firm-wide access. We have a great promotion going on for that. If you want to look into that, you can find that on our website. And it's really a tool best adopted by an entire team, so that you can, send something for review, so that your paralegal can build something out and then give it to you to really start strategizing, to start adding your high level strategy to it, and refining all of the more micro points within the arguments, and making sure that you can really spend the time advocating for your clients, and just get back to real life, so that we're spending less time sitting in front of documents and having to type things out. Whether this time savings that, obviously E1s are document heavy, and require a lot of evidence, and tying those things together. And no matter how good your templates are right now, I guarantee you they are not as fast as this process is currently. So
Absolutely.
I see no questions in the chat, so I'm going to assume that we were just crystal clear here today.
We did
And
a really good job.
that's right. We were very, very precise, and answered everything as it came up. But if that was not the case, again, I encourage you to send me an email. I'm happy to field that for you and provide you either a copy of today's output or get you connected with the right resources. Thursday, you can join our workflow, and just practical AI tips for how to use Visalaw AI and use the other side of the product that's not the drafting side. That's our legal research tool for qualifying and ensuring that you don't have any red flags during the process of working through this. We're going to work through the same demo here with the same training information, and work through that so that you can see that. So feel free to join that one, and we look forward to having you there for that as well. No questions in the chat. So Josh, I appreciate your time today.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate everybody who joined today and learned a little bit more about our drafting product. Again, if you are new, I'm going to throw it up one more time. You can scan this QR code and book a demo with us. We'd be happy to talk with you about what we can provide on the Visalaw AI side, and what benefits we can provide you, what plan maybe fits you, whether you want to get firm-wide access or whether you're just looking for one license. We're excited to get all of that set up for you. Josh is excited to speak with you.
Absolutely.
And so we will see you then. If you are going to AILA Annual, be on the lookout for us at booth 402. We will see you there, if nothing else. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye.